Know thy Lord at a higher level by living life and thinking accordingly with the power of knowledge, the word, your cognitive faculties, reasoning, and the innate moral compass Fitrah.
ChatGPT made an assessment based on all the inputs I have made, stories written, and thesis extrapolated, etc. The character is losing himself. He was righteous when everything was well, but now faith faltering when calamity befell. #human limitations. Thus God gives us the earthly journey, righteous, God-loving and fearing no matter what, as the only salvation to eternity in His proximity, and eternal afterlife with your pure spouse forever. It's not far-fetched. You're a short-sighted greedy, an ambitiously selfish hamster, or goat, or an epileptic disjointed uninformed disconnected frothy individual who's also an astrologer, although secular. To be in the proximity of God through seeking God's mercy alone until last breath here on earth. Don't wait for the last minute like a blind, uninformed astrologer, but also don't lose hope until last breath. But it would be like gambling, except you're gambling everything, the entirety, the eternal salvation. Moreover, bingo halls and gossiping will be too enticing in old age, given you will be functional with 2 neurons, and dying out of heedlessness, indifferences, and very likely, most definitely and ultimately a fallen being forever in the next life. Hope this video will help those seeking salvation. It's centered around pure monotheism, without ascribing partners with God, including aliens, demons, and of course humans with no exceptions, and seeking the mercy of God until last breath. Sins paid, blind assurance and or scapegoat equals dying out of blasphemy and disbelief, ultimately a fallen being forever. 8. Free will, predestination and fate. The affairs lie in the subtlety of things. Islam is considered the original religion of all prophets, from Adam, a.s., to Muhammad, meaning its spiritual roots go back to the beginning of human history. The rights of women from all walks of life. Of course, in many of the other ancient faiths, including Christianity and Judaism, where women didn't have souls 90 years ago, couldn't speak, and didn't have any inheritance rights. And then you have the other side of the spectrum, the radical feminist, hoarding excess by all means, including plotting, cheating, poisoning, divorcing, and imprisoning for wealth and fame, only to be degraded and exposed globally, except for epileptic, disjointed, uninformed mindsets who worship fleeting pursuits, in this case. Wealth, beauty, status, and wealth were there to test you. Imagine if you do such in the temporary, you will continue exerting dominance in the next life forever too, for eternity, thus losing closeness with God and becoming a fallen being who looked down on others and made their lives miserable through your pursuits, be it beauty at all costs, status or wealth. Not to mention when calamity befalls you when you are righteous, or have sinned throughout, and became rigid by worldly desires in the old age. One final test prior to death, when the grand devil pays you a visit on his last try to make you die a disbeliever despite shown otherwise with certitude. 5 idols or gods for the modern folks: near time productivity leading to constant grind, hoarding resources and maximize on earth, ambition to excel stemming from pride. Education: without education you can't have money, or be financially solvent to boast, ambitious pride festers. Money, although fleeting currency system, wanting to maximize, you invest in houses or investments, making money grow by any means, otherwise it will shrink, penny pinching, selfish individual. Modern medicine, sparkles, doctor will save me, shirk, blasphemy. Authoritative credentials, hiding behind the ever-changing subjective superficial morality, behind the system of credentials without divine ordinance. Subjective morality supersedes objective morality. Without pious chains of narration, hifz scholars and collective oral traditions, there is no Islam, only opinions. Time Part 2. Time is un-Islamic. The Gregorian calendar makes you frothy, greedy, and ambitiously selfish, ultimately a fallen being for good, or highly likely based on all the probabilities. Surah at-Tawbah, the repentance. They make it lawful 1 year and unlawful another year to correspond to the number made unlawful by Allah, and to thus make lawful what Allah has made unlawful. Made pleasing to them is the evil of their deeds, and Allah does not guide the disbelieving people. https://legacy. Quran.com. Surah at-Tawbah, 937, the Noble Quran Legacy. Quran.com. OMG, I was right. So keeping track of time makes you frothy, wanting to do anything for money, therefore making you evil to a certain degree, or a lot like for financial certitude by any means, while also opening your opportunities with the ladies. You just know it before others. I was always curious as to why my best friend is also my nemesis in the future job market. Look at all of you. From subtle to maximum repetitions of outings on social media, but no money for charity because you're exhausted. LOL. Time was never important. It actually gives you anxiety, YOLO, a monkey on steroids hoarding resources, and will do anything for money to excel, ambition, stemming from pride and arrogance. Your mission should be how long can you stay on this earth, the more you can redeem myself, or at least until God's satisfied about your static, not shifty, state of being to the most which you get through patience and steadfastness. You can do 2 EIDs, but the Gregorian calendar is bound to make you old. That's why you need the belief of one God, a must, and then only then you find contentment through being eager to meeting your Lord, here on earth, slow down time, an eternal afterlife that is far better for you if only you knew. The only conclusion the God, Allah, Hashem, Yahweh, Elohim. Allah in Aramaic. Eternal regret ungrateful beings dorks, hoodlums, creeps and gold diggers intertwined. Salvation 101 to acknowledge oneness of God, Tawhid, and seek God's mercy, Rahma, alone until last breath. Blind assurance, scapegoat and or sins paid equals heedlessness, indifferences and ultimately, a fallen being. Predestination and selfishness. Frothy dorks, hoodlums, unethical slumdogs and gold diggers were meant for each other. ChatGPT made the assessment. LOL. Unless the whole internet database is biased. Salvation is enlightenment through detachment of the obvious, temporary, and seeking God's mercy alone to create your place for eternity. For Muslims, Islam has put a balance. You don't leave your earthly duties trying to attain nirvana. Your earthly duties like studying, taking care of yourself and others, charitable things are acts of worship, your only currency in the eternal afterlife with God, the Creator, the Originator, one will, one God, the God, Allah, Allah. Of course we have our flaws, the human limitations, thus you try your best until last breath. God knows best. Ion's Journey Part 2. Innocence triumphs at the end. We humans are really ungrateful, and we get lost on this earth until you're sick or calamity has struck you. That's when you believe, and that's what makes us ungrateful, because we know the truth, and still decide not to acknowledge it or live by it throughout to our maximum outreach. Salvation is enlightenment through detachment of the temporary, and seeking God's mercy alone. Patience, steadfastness, and perseverance. The 3 words patience, steadfastness, and perseverance all relate to endurance but differ in focus. Patience, the ability to endure difficulties, delays, or suffering without frustration or loss of temper. It is more passive and internal, often tied to emotional control and acceptance. Example, waiting for justice without anger or despair. Steadfastness, the quality of remaining firm in one's beliefs, decisions, or commitments despite challenges. It implies unwavering faith and consistency. Example, holding on to one's principles despite societal pressure. Perseverance, the determination to continue striving toward a goal despite obstacles or failures. It emphasizes effort and persistence. Example, a writer continuing to submit their work despite multiple rejections. In Islamic and philosophical contexts, patience is often about endurance and trust in divine wisdom. Steadfastness is about remaining firm in faith and morality. Perseverance is about actively pushing through struggles toward a goal. Evil has overtaken you. Of course, I have my flaws, but not as much as the snake charming foy running his mouth behind trying to sleep around, or the epileptic disjointed mindsets trying to score high, est. Ion's Journey Part 3. Character Assessment with ChatGPT. Based on all the stories, all the inputs I have done, which type of character does it look like, and who would have been his ideal soulmate, her characteristics, and which career path should he have taken? Title: The Journey of Ayan, a soul in search of faith, purpose, and love. A spiritually inclined and emotionally vulnerable soul navigates a complex journey filled with fleeting relationships, societal pressures, and personal struggles. Torn between worldly desires and his innate faith, Ayan learns the harsh realities of life, love, and human nature. His encounters with various women, each embodying unique traits and flaws, shape his understanding of loyalty, purpose, and the Creator's ultimate plan. While his soulmate remains elusive, Ayan's story is one of spiritual rediscovery and a profound realization that his ultimate fulfillment lies not in earthly connections, but in a meaningful relationship with his Creator. Figments of imagination of his creation, humans, of the As-Samad.
As-Samad isone of the 99 names of Allah, mentioned in Surah Al-Ikhlas 112:2.
Allahu Al-Samad. Allah, the Absolute, As-Samad. Meaning of As-Samad. The Absolute and Self-Sufficient, Allah is completely independent, needing nothing from anyone, while all of creation depends on Him. The Eternal Refuge, He is the one whom everyone turns to in times of need. The Unbreakable and Indivisible, Allah has no flaws, weaknesses, or dependence on anything or anyone. Why is As-Samad important? It signifies that only Allah can fulfill all needs and desires. It highlights Allah's perfection, eternality, and complete authority. It teaches reliance on Allah alone in hardship and ease. Tafsir of As-Samad. Linguistic meaning of As-Samad. The word Samad comes from the root md, which means to be solid, firm, and unbreakable. To be independent and self-sufficient. To be the one to whom others turn for help. In classical Arabic, As-Samad referred to a noble leader whom people would approach for guidance and assistance because of his wisdom and authority. However, when applied to Allah, it takes on a perfect and absolute meaning. He is the one who fulfills all needs and is above all dependency. As-Samad in the Quran, Surah Al-Ikhlas. Allahu Al-Samad, the Absolute. This verse affirms Allah's perfection, unlike creation, which is dependent and flawed. This is why Surah Al-Ikhlas is considered one-third of the Quran in meaning. It purely describes Tawhid, the oneness of Allah. Classical tafsir of As-Samad. Tafsir Ibn Kathir. As-Samad is the Master and Lord, the one whom all of creation depends on, yet He depends on none. He is free from all needs. Unlike humans, who require sustenance, sleep, and companionship, Allah is free from all deficiencies. He is eternal. He has always existed and will always exist. Tafsir al-Tabari. As-Samad means Allah is the one to whom people turn for their needs. He is perfect in His attributes. Unlike creation, His existence is complete in knowledge, wisdom, and power. Tafsir al-Qurtubi. As-Samad has no internal emptiness, meaning He does not eat, drink, or require sustenance. He is indivisible. He has no body parts, no children, no parents. Spiritual and practical lessons from As-Samad. Depend on Allah alone. Humans rely on wealth, health, and people, but all of these are temporary. Allah is the only one who is constant. Allah fulfills all needs. Whenever you feel lost, desperate, or in need, call upon As-Samad. He is the ultimate source of help. Recognizing our weakness. Since Allah is As-Samad, it reminds us that we are weak and should not be arrogant. How to call upon As-Samad in dua. In times of distress, Ya Samad, grant me patience and strength for provision and sustenance. Ya Samad, you are the provider, grant me halal rizq for relief from hardship. Ya Samad, I turn to you alone for help. Grant me ease. Hashtags. Hashtag spiritual journey, hashtag self-discovery, hashtag faith and purpose, hashtag unrequited love, hashtag